A nuclear war that's meant to destroy the world breaks out on Earth, but fails to succeed and instead ends up reshaping the future of humanity. Survivors try to rebuild what's left behind and make it as habitable as possible.
They are called the genetics.
While researching to replace the destroyed energy grid, a botanist named Liam Smith discovers a unique post-war tree called the Genesis tree in the Amazon rainforest. With the help of his fellow scientists, Professor Liam figures out that the Genesis tree flower stores an incredible amount of energy and can be harvested to replace the lost grid. Considering the susceptibility of the genetic flower to its external environment, it's decided that these valuable plants should be housed and controlled at unique centers owned by the government. As research into this unique flower continues, it's discovered that it can also salvage humanity that's plagued with post-nuclear war genetic deformities. Scientists find a way to integrate the genome of the Genesis flower with the DNA of the human fetus while still in the womb. This discovery changes the world as it's used to prevent the disastrous outcomes of the war, but later used by expecting parents to selectively enhance and modify their newborns. However, a group of the population with defects in their immune system remain unable to receive this treatment and are now looked down upon by the modified humans who call themselves the genetics, are labeled specials and live a segregated life in the hoodlums of the earth called the special district, while the genetics live a lavish, technologically advanced lives in the genetic district. 65 years later, a teenage special named Chloe lives in her late parents' workshop in the special district with her paraplegic friend and caretaker Leon. There, the duo makes ends meet by providing mechanical upgrades and administering illegal doses of the Genesis flower to specials. One day, the duo runs out of Genesis flower and decides to break into the Genesis Institute in the genetic district. After sneaking into the genetic district, Chloe puts on a school uniform, mixes with a group of students on a tour of the institute, and enters, while Leon disguises himself as a cleaner and wheels himself in. While communicating with Chloe through an earpiece, Leon manages to break into a secured door. He then uses a small toy to release a sleeping gas and knocks out the guards beyond the door. Leon then releases chemicals inside the highly guarded internal room, housing the flower, and knocks everyone out. However, after a few minutes, Leon fails to proceed further, and Chloe is forced to cause a distraction, steal a code, and help him out.
Mister, help, they're beaming!
Get off!
Leon uses one of Chloe's inventions, named the acid fruit, cuts through a glass, and manages to steal the coveted flower,
which it stores in its blossoms, the Genesis flower.
As soon as he removes the flower, the institute goes into lockdown mode, and hence Leon is forced to rush back, joins the students, and they are all escorted out safely. Later, Senator Frank Kessler announces a new research that allows adults to receive genetic modifications called Proposition 42 and detailing how much it can help the specials and urges everyone to support, including the Senate. Later, a renowned genetics singer named Mira announces that she will be touring the special district to show support for Proposition 42 and quotes the senator as she reminds everyone that they are all equal. Leon and Chloe safely reach their district and manage to re-enter the rundown neighborhood. Once inside their home, Chloe announces how excited she is to see her favorite singer, Mira, at the concert, and after hearing the senator's speech on TV, she starts dreaming of a world where everyone is equal. On the contrary, Leon doesn't buy the senator's speech as he believes it's full of empty promises. Later, Leon harvests the essential components of the genetic flower with precision. Then the duo opens their shop, lets their long queue of clients in, and as Leo does the repairs, Chloe collects the payments. When they prepare to close the shop for the night, the duo receives a call from a panicked customer who desperately asks them to go to the genetic district and repair his functional suit. Chloe begins to decline the request as they normally don't take their services to customers due to safety issues. Leon hears the customer is willing to pay triple the price and accepts it. Then Leon and Chloe manage to avoid patrol and successfully make it inside the genetic district. Then they head to a luxurious restaurant to meet with their desperate chef client and sneak in through the back. Then Leon carefully inspects the functional suit, which gives the chef mobility in his disabled arm, finds the issue, and quickly repairs it.
1, 2, 3.
However, moments later, an anti-genetic terrorist group enters the dining room, cuts off the power, and starts terrorizing everyone. The chef goes to check the situation and returns with a fatal injury, which freaks out Leon and Chloe. Desperate to escape with their lives, Leon dons the functional suit, which gives him the ability to walk, and the two hide as the terrorists make their way to the kitchen. However, the functional suit propels Leon out of hiding, which alerts the terrorists. Hence, an intense fight breaks out between the suited Leon and the terrorists. Luckily, Leon and Chloe manage to defend themselves, escape the ordeal, and safely make their way back home. There, the duo follows the report of the terrorist attack on the news and are outraged to see they are listed as the perpetrators. Then, the head of Special Forces, Captain Hughes, comes on and announces how much trouble the Specials are causing. Meanwhile, Leon is shocked as he recognizes the captain as the head of the terrorists from earlier that night. The duo then put things together and realized that the Genetic Special Forces had been behind the anti-genetic terrorist movement and had been framing the Specials and giving them a bad reputation. Then Chloe remembers the terrorists' conversation and realizes that they are planning to kidnap Mira while she's on tour in the Special District, blames the Specials for it, and uses it as an excuse to abuse them. Then Leon and Chloe get into a heated argument over what to do with this information as Leon prepares to leave town while Chloe urges him to stay and protect Mira and the Specials. Then Chloe storms out of the warehouse in anger. Leon then takes time to think about everything, considers the options, and, after making up with Chloe, decides to join her in helping fight against the terrorists. He then revives a full-body functional armor, puts it on with the help of Chloe, and trains to command it.
Careful, careful. Slow down, okay?
Then Chloe uses her creativity and some reagents to arm the suit.
You'll be able to release Poland.
The next day, Mira arrives and performs in the Special District and is cheered on by her Ultimate Special fans. Then, as she prepares to leave with her bodyguards, she's ambushed by the terrorists. Then, as the terrorists try to kidnap Mira, a fully armored Leon arrives and takes them by surprise. An intense fight breaks out between the men and Leon, who is dubbed Flowerman for his plant-based weaponry. A few minutes later, Chloe arrives, and the trio drives back to the warehouse. There, Chloe and Leon officially introduce themselves to Mira, who has a hard time processing everything they explain to her. Once she calms down, Mira cleans Leon's wounds and helps him dress them. Later, as Mira mentions her next event at the Family Planning Center in the Genetic District, Leon remembers the terrorists destroying the senator's posters and figures out that the terrorists' next attack will be targeting the center where the senator will be making an appearance. The next day, Leon disguises himself as Mira's partner and, together with the famous singer, heads to the Family Planning Center under the guise of having an impromptu appointment with the doctor.
Chloe, you'll stay outside on the lookout, and give me a signal when you see them arriving.
Then, hoping to meet his famous new client, the doctor rushes over to Mira and attempts to discuss her needs. Leon interrupts this politely and insists that he wants a tour of the facility before he makes a life-altering decision. The doctor obliges and proudly takes them around the only hospital approved to perform gene alteration.
One of our designs.
A few minutes later, Chloe informs Leon of the terrorist's arrival. Leon acts swiftly, and after randomly announcing that Mira will give the hospital staff a private concert, he locks everyone in the meeting hall. Meanwhile, the terrorists enter the facility and are surprised to find Flowerman. Flowerman takes on the whole group by himself in a brutal fight. Despite making drastic improvements to his armor, the terrorists prove to be too much for Leon. He is severely beaten to the point his life flashes before his eyes, and he blacks out. The moment the senator and his security team arrive, the terrorists escape through the back door.
Let's get out of here!
Senator Frank orders his men down, rushes to Leon, who is his estranged son, and after making sure Leon's okay, tells him how proud he is of him.
Dad?
Mira then confesses that she's the one who alerted the senator and apologizes. Moments later, Chloe arrives on the scene, finds out the truth about Leon and the senator's relationships, and feeling betrayed, flees back to her district. Then Senator Frank uses the incident to make his point that the disparity between the genetics and the specials has gone too far, and stresses that Proposition 42 must be passed as soon as possible to help level the playing field. The next day, after reviewing the incidents of the previous day, the Senate passes Proposition 42 and recommends for postnatal improvements get started as soon as possible. Hence, hopeful specials are transported from their district to a new medical camp built outside of the city. Then it's announced after the treatments, the improved specials will be allowed to join the genetic population. Elsewhere, the senator visits his son at a medical facility and promises to cure his disability. Unimpressed by the promise, Leon confronts his father about the death of his mother, who passed away from complications of experiments intended to cure Leon. Senator Frank apologizes and gives Leon a letter his mother had left behind. Leon reads the letter, cries his heart out, and, hoping to fulfill his mother's wishes, forgives his father. Mira then wheels Leon to the medical camps, where he is emotionally reunited with Chloe.
He ran away!
Then Leon shares his suspicion that his father sponsored the terrorists to force the Senate's hand to pass his proposition to Mira and Chloe. Despite this plausible theory, none of the trio could figure out the possible reason behind it, and in hopes of getting more information, Chloe volunteers to do some reconnaissance. As medical personnel arrive with special forces and start picking specials to take to the procedure, Chloe takes a camera, sneaks into the lab, and starts recording. Then Chloe's surprised to see Captain Hughes walk in the lab and get congratulated for his terrorism by the senator.
Did good.
Then, the senator demonstrates his plan to the captain by sacrificing one of the specials as a donor for brain material. Then the senator mixes the biomaterial with the gene modifications, while explaining that the donor's untouched genome will bind with the genetic modification genes well, which enables the combined essence to be instilled in anyone, regardless of gender or age. The senator then shares that his only concern is curing his son, and states that the only humane thing to do for the specials is to harvest them. Equipped with this information, Leon unites the specials to fight against the injustice before he goes to confront his father.
Don't call me that.
After refusing the treatment and helping Chloe upload and send the incriminating video to the police, Leon returns to the medical camp and, together with the specials, fights the special forces. After a lengthy and brutal fight, Flowerman kills Captain Hughes. Soon after, the police arrive and apprehend all the criminals, except the senator, who successfully escapes. A week later, the government officially repeals Proposition 42, ends the segregation, and integrates specials with the genetic population. As the specials resuscitate their lives, Leon and Mira start a relationship. One day, as Chloe, Mira, and Leon go shopping, a disfigured Frank Kessler resurfaces from the shadows and proudly watches his son from afar before going back into hiding again.
Leaving many questions unanswered as the city is slowly recovering.